All right. What's up, guys? Y'all have weathered the storm and stayed on, so thank y'all for doing that. I appreciate it. I know it's been a long week, and everybody's probably getting tired of doing stuff online these days. I don't know. Are you guys going to have to do school online or anything coming up, or do you know yet? Don't know. Yeah. Yeah, Roger, what about you?
They said that it's supposed to start the 31st, August 31st, like in school, but
Okay.
I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, I know right now it's like the plan could be one thing one day and then the next day it's completely different. So who knows what you'll be dealing with. But thank you guys for sticking around. Hopefully this has been a good week. What I want to work on today, it's kind of a fun thing, a little similar to some of what we were doing yesterday. We're not going to have to go into a different tuning, but these are different ways that we can get around playing in the key of E on guitar. Some cool chord substitutions and things we can do to get some neat sounds out of the guitar. And then I want to leave some time at the end just for questions. If there's just anything in general, guitar-wise or music-wise, that you have questions about, I want to give you a chance to ask those and see if I can help you out. And I think Josh may be back on by that point too, so he can talk with us as well. So anyway, we're going to be looking in the third guitar book. I'll have it on the screen though, so that you'll be able to see. Let me go ahead and get that up now. There we go. All right, you guys got that? Give me a thumbs up. You guys see that? Okay. All right, so um, you may have seen some of this before. If so, we're going to reinforce it and maybe kind of try and get to the point to where you're seeing some new material. But these are different ways that you can go about playing chords in the key of E to substitute for bar chords and other odd chord shapes that we have looked in. E is awesome on guitar because you really get to take advantage of just the low, all the way down to that low E string. Things sound good. E minor, all those things just sound really great on guitar. Tons of resonance. But it's not the easiest key to play chords in because you can play open E, you can play open A, and then after that, everything else is a bar chord. So there's some ways that we can get around this as a guitar player. Sorry, let me mute my phone here. It's going off. There we go. Okay, so if you look over here, see if you can kind of see this a little bit. The first system that we're going to look at for playing in the key of E is I call the power chord system. It's one shape that we're going to use, and it's based off of a 3-note power chord. Do you guys know what power chords are? Okay, cool. Power chords are awesome for guitar players, especially put it on electric, throw some distortion. Yeah, there you go, Roger. So they sound really good. This system that we're going to use is basically just movable power chords that we're going to put all over the guitar. The high E and B strings are going to ring open through everything, just like the DAD-GAD tuning that we were doing yesterday. And the chords that we're going to use, let's go through these now. For a C sharp minor chord, this is a common chord in the key of E. Normally what we would do is we would play, make sure you can see, we would play a minor, and like an A minor type shape, the bar chords that we looked at the other day, but on the 4th fret of the A string. What we're going to do, and it just happens to work out in this key, is instead of playing the full-on bar chord, we're just going to do the power chords. So fingers 1, 3, and 4. So go ahead and grab that now on your guitar. And then leave the high E string and the B string open. Should sound like this. Kind of has a little bit of dissonance to it, but it works. Everybody got that? Let's get here. So Jacqueline, make sure you've got this power chord going. First finger on the 4th fret of the A string. I'm sorry, yeah, I know it's kind of hard to see. Let me get into a view where I might be able to see a little better. There we go. Okay, so 4th fret of the A string is your first finger. That note is C sharp. That's why we know this chord is what it is. Then on the D string, 6th fret, 3rd finger. And then on the G string, 6th fret, 4th finger, your pinky. Do you get that? Okay, so you play that, and then you let the E string, the high E string and B string up here ring open. And we're going to do that on every chord that we're about to play. It's going to be this shape that we're using right now, so kind of lock your hand into place, and everything else will be open. All right, so that's C sharp minor. Let's move this up 1 fret. So same shape, slide it up 1 fret. Your root is now a D. D is not naturally occurring in the key of E, but it often shows up. If you're going to have an out of position chord, then D is usually the one that shows up. Has kind of a cool sound, so exact same shape, A string 5th fret, and then the D string and G string 7th fret, with the B string and the E string open. Now take the whole thing and slide it up 2 frets. So it should be on the 7th fret now. This is probably the 3rd dot for you on your guitar. Unless you have a dot on the 1st fret, and then that messes things up. So slide this up to the 7th fret. Roger, I think I see you got it. Jacqueline, you got it? Good, okay. All right, the cool thing about this one is that you can play the low E string open because this is an E chord. We know it's an E chord because your 1st finger of the root is on E. So this one sounds really, really nice. Strum on that a little bit. Yeah, I love the sound of this. All right, let's take it down to the D. So go down 2 frets. 1, 2, ready, go. Can't play the low E open anymore, so you got to mute that. I typically use my 1st finger to mute it. It's touching my low E string here. All right, slide it back now, 1 fret to the C sharp minor. Now what we're going to do is slide it back 2 frets to the 2nd fret. This is going to be our B chord. Here we go. All right, now what we're going to do, see if you can do this on the fly. We're going to slide it back 2 frets, but our 1st finger is going to go away because it's going to become an open chord at that point. It's going to be an A2. Here we go, 1, 2, ready, and 1st finger probably needs a break anyway. All right, now we're going to see if we can jump back up to the 7th fret. This is back up to the E. 1, 2, ready, and
dynamics. So the word dynamics, meaning there'll be sometimes maybe it's when we start the song, everybody's kind of in, and then it comes to the verse, and it's like kind of bring it down, and that's all part of touching the strings as well, and striking them. So I play with my 2 fingers.
1, 2, ready, go. Down to A. 1, 2, open A, go. Back up to E, 7th fret. 1, 2, 1, 2, in on E. Okay, cool. Give your hands a break for a second. So this is a really cool way of playing in the key of E. If it's unfamiliar to you, that's fine. I think you sit down and do just a short little practice session on this, and it'll all come to you really quickly because you get to lock that power chord shape in and use that. I find myself using this on like Israel Houghton tunes a lot. If you guys know Israel Houghton, he wrote like You Are Good, Say So, Jesus at the Center, a lot of great tunes. I Will Live, which is one that we've used a lot here lately. So this works really, really great in the key of E. I like it on Roger. If you're playing a lot of electric guitar, I like using this on electric too. I don't know if you've listened to a classic rock band by the name of Rush before, by any chance? No? Okay. Well, do yourself a favor and go check out some Rush. They're like musically the greatest classical rock band that there's ever been, in my opinion. But Alex Lifeson, their guitar player, uses a lot of this stuff in his chords, where he's using these two open strings that'll ring, and then he throws some chorus on it, and it sounds really great. Their drummer just passed away. This is a freebie. He's the greatest rock drummer who ever lived. Indisputable. Indisputable. Hopefully. So anyway, this system works really well.
Forever.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'm going to scroll down now. Here we go. Okay, well, this is just showing you the power chord system that we were doing. So there's what it looks like as a diagram. That one's in the B position. And then we're not going to go through all the exercises now just because we did a lot of it. We will play figure 94 here, or I'm sorry, 93. So I'm going to zoom in on that so we can see what it looks like in written music. I do want to note that these chords are, like if somebody said, hey, play a B chord, and you sit down and play this, that's not technically a B chord by textbook definition. It has a suspension in it because it has a high E. That chord doesn't naturally occur, or that note doesn't naturally occur in a B chord. But usually just because of the nature of the acoustic guitar, it works in most settings. Same thing with the C sharp minor. Technically, what you're playing here is a C sharp minor 11, if you want to get really technical, or it's a C sharp minor add 4, if you want to really get technical. But again, they work in this key. If you see a C sharp minor in any other key, you can't do this. This only works in the key of E that you should do this system. Okay, let's give this a go. Starting on E. We grab the guitar, 7th fret. So just remember E is on the 7th fret, B is the 2nd fret, C sharp is the 4th fret, and then A is open. I stole this progression from something, I can't remember what. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2nd fret, B. C sharp minor. Down to open A. Up to E. Down to B, C sharp, down to A, finish on E. Very cool. Josh, you're right. It's funny when you're playing and you're trying to watch. It's very difficult. I think people's internet speeds are different too, because I see people changing at different times and stuff. So that's
It's like, why aren't they playing with me?
No. But I trust that you're all getting it right. So good stuff. All right, I'm going to skip over figure 94 for now. And now we're going to add in a couple other chords. There's 2 chords that are also will show up in the key of E. Maybe slightly less common, but they do show up, and we need to know how to handle them. The cool thing about both of these chords is that finger 3 and 4 are still locked on the D string and the G string. I've heard this referred to a lot as the railroad track system that we talked about yesterday. In the key of E, you can play all these chords by locking these 2 fingers on the middle 2 strings of your guitar, and every chord can be played that way. Even these ones that we're about to do where you have to play on the low E string, fingers 3 and fingers 4 still stay on the D string and the G string. So for F sharp minor and G sharp minor, these are kind of similar to some things that are looked at earlier in this book, some minor 7 chord shapes. But for now, what you should do to start with is play like we did the A2 chord earlier, where you have fingers 3 and 4 on the second string of the D string and the G string. So play that. And then simply add your second finger to the low E string, 2nd fret. Mute the A string with your second finger, which your hands will probably want to do naturally anyway. Everybody got that? Roger, I think I can see that you got that. Jackie, do you got that over there on your end? Good. Just make sure it's in the 2nd fret. I couldn't see 100% there. Just make sure that everything is inside fret 2. Got it now? Okay, cool. So this shape is movable. It's going to work for both the F sharp minor chord and the G sharp minor chord. So play your F sharp minor. Make sure you can hear those 2 strings ringing on the top. Make sure the bass note is there. Now take the whole thing and slide it up 2 frets to the 4th fret. This low note becomes G sharp. It's a minor shape, therefore this is a G sharp minor chord that we're playing. Make sure you've got that. Go back to F sharp. Now back up to G sharp. And then go up to A, so now your second finger is going to go away. Now up to B. Now C sharp. Now D, 5th fret. Now up to E. So if you can give your hands a break for a second. If you can play all of those, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, which again is kind of a, it's kind of a neighbor to E. It doesn't normally live here, but it shows up a lot. And then E, then you can play most of what you need to play in the key of E using those 4 chords. There is occasionally you'll run into an inversion that you need to play to get a kind of this thing where I think I see Josh is playing it there too. Josh, how do you normally handle like a B with a D sharp in the bass?
Yeah, it's like E over D sharp. So if you start with like the power chord E, I'll move my index and my middle finger down 1 fret.
Yeah. So your first
I've seen
finger.
some people do like they'll leave their pinky finger where it is, and just move their index finger. I kind of like hearing the octave of that. It's just a personal thing.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. It sounds a little more pleasant. So if you had to do, if you did run across a B or a D sharp over B chord, that's the one inversion that I would really pay attention to. Some of the others you might be able to get away with it, but this one you may need. Your note on the G string and your note on the A string both have to go back 1 fret. So figure out whatever fingering works best for you. But the reason why that one's so important, and the reason why typically whenever if we're in a key and there's one inversion that we want to pay attention to, it's the one that has the low note that's 1 fret lower than the key that we're in. It's because it wants to lead back into the home key. So this B over D sharp that we have, if you just listen to it, this note right here so desperately wants to come back up to E, right? It wants to resolve. Musically, that's important for us to recognize those things with our ear. That's about one of the strongest motions that you can get in music, so it's important for us to be able to hear that. If you ever really want to annoy someone, like walk up to a musician, walk up to a piano or something and play, and then walk away. Don't finish it. You really need that top note. Please finish. There it is. So that's why that inversion is so important to us. Okay, enough of that. Figure 96. Take a look at this. I'm going to give you just a second here to kind of work it out on your own. The F sharp minor is the one that looks like A2, but with the second finger on the second fret of the low E string. The G sharp minor, same thing, but up 2 frets to the 4th fret. C sharp minor is the power chord off of the 4th fret of the A string. And then B is the 2nd fret, and then back up to E. All right, let's give that a try. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, play. Here's C sharp and B. Repeat, F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and B. Finish on E. There we go. That one sounds very Dave Matthews to me. You listen to Dave Matthews. Maybe, I don't know what tune.
That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
That's how I learned how to play guitar, is Dave Matthews.
That's awesome. Yeah, listen, for all of us, especially as acoustic guitar players, go learn to play some Dave Matthews tunes. He's a weird player because he didn't really, I think, have anybody teaching him, so he just figured out this really weird system of playing guitar that is really unconventional and will tie.
Rhythmic and percussive.
Yeah, absolutely, and just weird chord forms that you wouldn't normally expect. So, but it's stuff that you can apply immediately to praise and worship music. I love for praise and worship musicians to listen to the Dave Matthews Band as a whole. So, yeah, this one sounds Dave Matthews-ish to me. All right, the stationary pinky system. I was not very creative in the names of these things. All right, so this one is called what it is because the pinky is not going to move for most of the chords. There is an exception for the F sharp minor chord. The first finger actually also is in the same place for most of the chords that we're about to use, and the other ones will move around. So the high E string and the B string will be open on the top of everything, just like before. And again, I just want to reiterate these chords are substitutions that should only be used in the key of E. For F sharp minor and G sharp minor, the chords are going to be played with shapes that we already know. And the B, same thing, that one's going to be the power chord. So you already know 3 of the chords that you need to know for this system. Let me scroll down. This one's a little wacky. I like it, but it can be a burn on your fingers if you're not careful. All right, here's the first one. This is what we're going to do for E. This looks like a reverse power chord almost. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can bar the first fret of the A string and the D string with finger 1. Then use your 4th finger or your 3rd finger to play the G string. And then leave the last 2 frets open. Alternatively, instead of barring those 2, if that's uncomfortable to you, you could use 2 fingers, finger 1 and 2, and then finger 4 to play the G string 4th fret. Give that a try. See which one, Roger, which one's more comfortable for you? Barring it or using the 2 fingers on the A string and the D string?
Well, I think the barring it is more comfortable, but if I were to play it, like to get to it faster, I would use
the 2 fingers? Okay. Yeah. I would practice it both ways for a little bit and just see which one seems to come more naturally. Jacqueline, what about you?
I think for me it's barring it, so I can
Barring
reach the 4th finger.
Great. Okay. Good deal. Yeah, whatever, again, with a lot of these things, it's kind of up to you what's most comfortable. So there's your E. We're going to move now over to the C sharp minor shape. Now this one, you can start to see the relationship where the things are really similar. So if we go from E, then your 1st finger stays on the D string, your fourth finger stays on the G string, and your third finger now comes to the A string, fourth fret. If we didn't sound like Dave Matthews before, we do now. This is a chord that he loves to play. Give that a go. It kind of looks like a power chord on the D string, and then you add your note on the A string here. Now try switching from E to C sharp minor. So here's E, and then you switch to C sharp minor. Back to E, and then to C sharp minor. Again, this is just another way of playing the chord. Could you slide up to the fourth fret power chord thing that we learned before? Absolutely. But this is going to give you just kind of another tool in your vocabulary.
And it has like a different sound to it as well. Like I don't mean it's not cooler like in the it's not like, you know, more fun. I mean it's cooler like it's less minorish, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. There's a different reason why we would want to use one or the other. These are just a very different color to each one of these chords that you might be going for. Okay, that's E and C sharp minor. Go ahead, Josh.
Saying Roger looks like he's getting in his feels. Look at it, he's got his mood lighting going.
I know, it looks like he got darker there. Nice.
That's what happens when we start playing around with some of these E
Yeah,
substitutions.
man. Lights go dim. You know it. All right, the A2 chord. Now, this you can substitute this for an A chord. It's like the C sharp minor that we had just played. So if you start from C sharp minor, and then you just lift your third finger and play the A string open. So try that. Jackie, you all right? I keep seeing it blink in and out. Everything okay? You good? Okay. So this is just two fingers, first finger and fourth finger on the D string and the G string, second fret, fourth fret. Okay, those are the only ones that we need to learn. All the other chords were the same. Again, the F sharp minor is the only exception to the pinky being in the same place. G sharp minor, your pinky's there. B, your pinky's there. Now we've added this A, 2, C sharp minor, and E. And that B stays constant on everything.
Jimmy, how do you when you're playing that A, how do you are you muting that low E string?
Yeah, I'm doing my very best to. For me, my hands aren't big enough to wrap my thumb around and mute it. I really, really wish they were. I'm doing everything I can not to hit it. One other thing that you can do is your second finger isn't really doing anything here. Sometimes I'll find that it comes down and just touches that low E string to mute it. Josh, do you do something different there, or is that kind of how you approach it?
No, I think I use my ring finger because typically I'm like if I'm playing and I'm playing the system a good bit.
Yeah.
It's like my ring finger is what's doing most of the work. Like it's what's doing most of the changing. So like if I'm coming from like the sixth chord or the C sharp minor and I go to the four chord, I just kind of move my ring finger up and it just kind of blocks it a little
Got
bit.
it.
But yeah, like I mean the middle finger would work just as good. I just have never done it that way.
What's the fingering for that again?
So the minor chord is 3 on A4, your index is on D2, and your pinky finger is on G4. And then to get to the A, you just lift up your ring finger. Does that make sense?
And then, like Josh said, you can, since your ring finger is there not doing much anyway, it can just go down and touch the low E string. I use my second finger, but there's really no good rule for which one to use. So Yeah, as long as you're doing something to try and mute that low E string. If you hit it, it's not the end of the world. It kind of works, but you know,
It's a
you
little
want to.
muddy.
Yeah, it gets a little muddy. You want to try and avoid it if you can. I did a recording session here recently with a girl who came in and had never taken guitar lessons. Wrote a great song in the key of E where she was basically using this system, and she recorded it. And I said, "Hey, now come in and listen and hear what you did." And uh, all of a sudden, she could hear that this low E string was ringing on the bottom of every chord. She never noticed it while she was playing, but then she listens back and realizes just how muddy and kind of gross it can sound if that's just droning on the bottom of everything. So it might not be something that you would typically notice in your playing, but just be aware that it's something you've got to address.
That's a good point. Like I'll record I record myself a lot just in the course of a normal day. Like I'm recording stuff usually most of the day, and it's kind of a humbling experience to hear stuff that you've recorded because you start to realize, like for me, my timing inconsistencies are an issue, but also yeah, like strings that you don't really hear yourself hitting, and when you're playing live, you like that's actually what people are hearing. So that's a good exercise. Like if you have a phone, iPhone or whatever, like the voice memo app on Android and iPhones are great. Like they have, they're good microphones. So just like in your practice times, like once you've kind of worked on a song, like do a voice memo of you playing that song, and then listen back and see what it actually sounds like to someone just listening.
Yeah, it's always good to keep ourselves honest as musicians. So tools like that are in the modern era where everybody's got a recording device in their pocket. It's a pretty awesome practice tool. You used to have to buy these stupid looking things that were like 4 times the size, and they had two weird looking microphones sticking out of the top of them. Cost you like $150. Now everybody's got a phone, so use that to your advantage. All right, let's play an exercise.
I don't know if I'm playing it right.
Okay,
But,
let me see what you're doing.
like it just sounds weird.
Um, so are you're right now you're doing the C sharp minor chord, it looks like, right?
Oh,
Okay, take everything, Roger, take everything that you were just doing. Hold on, let me get where I can see you better. Okay. Are you trying to do this shape, this C sharp minor one from the E system? Which chord are you trying to play?
I'm gonna do A2.
The A2?
Yeah.
Okay. So back it up to the 2nd fret and the 4th fret of the guitar. Right now you're 2 frets too high. So take everything back. There you go. And make sure that your first finger is on the D string and your pinky is on the G string. And that's all you need.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So,
Let's hear it, Roger. Let's hear it.
yeah, let me. There you go. Very cool. And what you can do from here is then just put your 3rd finger down on the 4th fret of the A string. Try that real quick. Good. Now you've got your C sharp. Yep. And really, too, I mean, I'm showing G sharp minor like this in this system, but I think, let me see how this sounds. You can play the G sharp minor by doing the same thing as a C sharp minor, just putting your 3rd finger down on the G sharp, and it sounds okay.
Then it becomes like a E over G sharp, which
Mhm.
in contemporary music you end up playing a good bit. Like it's the first inversion of the root chord.
Yeah, you'll see that more often than you would a G sharp minor in this case. So I like doing that as well. Again, I know we keep going back to this, but if you've ever heard. We heard this song. Dave Matthews. It's straight out of this system. Yeah. So it is tried and true. It works. Learn it. This is one we need to know as guitar players. All right. Share my screen here. And again, guys, I know we're blazing through this. I don't expect this all to come really fast to you right now. It's something that you'll want to practice on whenever you get away from these lessons. All right, figure 100. Let's see if we can play it. We've got E, So bar the A string and the D string. Your pinky goes on the G string, 4th fret. Yeah, not like that. There we go. And then your G sharp is on the 4th fret of the low E string. This is kind of the railroad tracks thing that we've done before. Your A, this is the one that we're going to do where your pinky stays on the 4th fret of the G string. It's a 2-finger chord. First finger goes on the 2nd fret of the D string. And then B is the power chord off the 2nd fret. And then we're back to E. Let's give it a go. See if you can do it. If not, it's okay, but let's give it a try. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, play. G sharp. Here's A. Now B. Back to E. G sharp. There we go. Here's A. And B. Back to E. All right. Cool.
This is just one of the things. Sometimes I'll do like at the end of a progression like that, like this, power E.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see it, like what we've been playing. It's nice and rich. Sometimes I'll even like, this is going back to my electric days, but I would play an E chord like this. It looks like an E minor, but I'm muting that G string. And to me, like, just sometimes like this, like doing it like this, it almost has like a little bit more gravitas.
Yep.
So like if you needed to like land heavy on something, sometimes I'll use this E. So it's just those. It looks like an E minor, but I'm letting my finger mute that G string a little bit. I don't know.
No, that's a really good point. What that's doing for all of us, just if we're taking a quick little detour into music theory land, is if you're playing it this way with the bar, then you've got you've got an equal number of fifths to roots. You've got 3 Bs and 3 Es in that chord. If you go back to the way that Josh is doing it, then you remove this B right here, which is the exact same note in prime unison with the next B string. So there's a lot of power in that. So you go back to this way, and it kind of puts the focus back more on the root and gives it that gravitas. I like that word. I'm going to steal that. That's why it feels a little more weighty, because it relinks everything back to the E.
Yeah, I wouldn't use it all the time. Just like the last chord of a progression or something.
Yep.
If you just want to land on that.
Absolutely. And I do that, Josh, similarly with both of these progressions. Even if I'm in the power chord one, if I get to the end, sometimes I'll go to the full-on E chord, add the third in it, just because I like how everything settles down that direction. So, all right.
Chord to
So,
play.
say that again?
What's your favorite chord to play?
My favorite chord to play? Oh, man. I don't know. I've been experimenting a lot here lately. We can get into Q&A time, so this is a good transition into that. I've been messing around a lot here lately with trying to use diminished chords to substitute, like as passing tones. I'm working on some material right now for chord melody, meaning like you play the melody of a song and the chords at the same time, and then trying to figure out substitutions to use. So I like these diminished chords that happen. They're really weird, but they're cool theoretically, because if you play a diminished chord, like another voicing of it, diminished chords are just stacks of minor thirds, and they repeat. So you can move them up 3 frets, and it becomes the exact same chord, just in a different inversion. The notes are in a different order. So you can do these really cool substitutions. So yeah, they're just a lot of fun. Diminished chords are neat. Do like a blues progression, and then start. So yeah, diminished chords are fun to play around with. Go check those out. Josh, what do you like? What's your favorite chord?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Kind
I
of
always
hard.
like if I'm if I'm just playing around, like I'll go back to some Dave Matthews days.
Mm.
And admittedly, I don't like this new stuff, but like he would do this one section of a song where like he would, I don't even know what chord this would be, like, but he just goes, and I just like that, that back
Yeah.
and forth. So it's this
7 sharp 9.
yeah.
Yep. What would you say? Is that the tune?
Yeah, something like that. It's been a minute since I played it, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's an awesome chord. That chord is so funky. It shows up. It's really, really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. You guys have any other questions?
Roger, what's your favorite chord?
Yeah. What do you like?
I don't really know the name, but
Nice. Hold on. Let me move my thing here so I can see what you're doing a little better.
Is that like a 6?
So you're playing fifth fret of the low E string.
and then yeah, I'm borrowing it.
Gotcha. I see. Okay. Yeah. So this you could call this a few different things. It's like that could be a 11, 13-ish kind of thing, or it could be a D major 7 with an A in the bass. So that's a cool chord, man. That's a really thick sounding chord. If you move your bass note from the A string down to the D string, then this becomes a really, really common voicing for a major 7 chord. It's a D major 7, and you can move that around. It's a really cool sound. That's a good one. I like it. Jackie, you got any fun chords that you've been playing around with here lately?
I like the 7th chords, so like you those are fun.
They are fun. Yeah, I love 7th chords. There's just like such thickness there, and they add a whole lot of motion to your progressions. Very cool. There is, I mean, I know we keep talking about it, but I think the chapter before the one that we're looking at right now in the guitar book is all 7th chords. So there's some cool stuff in there that you can go look at as well. Cool. You guys have any more questions? Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was just agreeing. Yeah.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question. Like, do you ever play around with pick styles? Like, so I've been experimenting a little bit with the way I hold my pick to get different sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if my pick is a little more perpendicular to the string, it's a cleaner sound. But if I kind of angle it a little bit, I get a little bit of that pick scrape. I don't know if you can hear the difference between
I can hear.
this and I don't know if you ever do anything like that.
Yeah, Josh, I think I haven't. I think you're probably thinking about that more than what I have, but I'm probably going to now that you pointed out because I haven't really.
It's just something I've been doing recently. I've noticed like sometimes if I get lazy, and it's not even lazy, but if I'm not really, I don't know, my default is to keep the pick kind of perpendicular to get that clean sound. But then sometimes I just want to dig in a little bit.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I don't know, it has this almost shimmer property to it.
It's a definite difference. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's definitely something cool to play with to get a different tone. I've thought more of like where I'm playing, which I'm sure you have as well. So if I want kind of a darker sound, I'm playing back here, as opposed to brighter sound back here. I don't ever really see any need to go up here that often, but playing around here or doing like muting. The only thing I've ever really done with my pick to turn around. Are you using a yellow Dunlop, by the way? Same. Nice. I've seen some guys who will actually take their pick and instead of playing with a pointy end, they flip it around and play with the side like this. I think I was talking with someone about this earlier in the week.
Yeah.
For like a softer kind of sound. I'll do that sometimes if I'm playing single note lines and I want them to be kind of soft and less tacky, because you can hear a big difference as opposed to
Yeah, for sure.
just a little mushier.
I've been playing with these forever. Like it's my go-to pick. I've been experimenting some with these. There's
Ooh, I like
a
that.
capo company called Thalia, and it's a rosewood pick, but it's like super thick. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
And I thought I would really like it, but it almost makes it brighter. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's darker.
It's weird.
It's weird. Right now it sounds kind of good, but when I was actually playing with it a lot, like I didn't really like it, and they wear out super quick.
I bet. Yeah, with it being wood. It's definitely an interesting sound because you keep the brightness but lose some of the attack maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, all kinds of fun gear talk that you can get into as a guitar player, guys. It's never ending.
Yeah.
Y'all have any more questions or anything else that you've been curious about guitar-wise? We can go any direction with this that you would like to.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
Where's like the right position for your finger for barcode, bar chords? Because when I see a YouTube, they use the side, but when I was in conservatory when I was younger, you have to use like the bottom.
Gotcha.
So they use both. But
Yep.
I don't know the right way.
That's a really, really good question, Jackie. For me, depending on which chord I'm doing, my hand may kind of, I don't know how well you can see that. Your first finger may kind of rotate differently. I tend to use not completely flat, but a little bit on the back side. So my finger is rolled some back. It's not the side, but it's not perfectly flat either. That feels really if I try and do that, I don't know about you, but I start feeling a lot of tension right back here on my hands, and that's not healthy. So my finger tends to be rolled a little bit, and then oftentimes it's angled too. So like if you see me going from a E major shape to an A major shape, you can see it's kind of at a bit of an angle as well. And for me, that just kind of helps everything get where it needs to be. But yeah, I think it's not flat. It's rolled back a little bit for me, kind of in that sort of position. Does that make sense? Does it answer it? Okay. Good. Josh, is it similar for you when you're doing that?
Yeah, I've never actually thought about it. I think also depends on where on the neck. Like when I come down further, I'm more on the side.
Mm-hmm.
When I come up here, it's more straight.
No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm almost completely flat if I'm up this high.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think at the end of the day, if you can get there quickly and it's clean,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yep. And with everything that we do as playing, we want to take care of ourselves when we're playing. So you're going to feel pressure and some tension just when you're learning new things like this. But if you're consistently feeling like a place where you just have almost like a tendon that's too tight running or something like that, then you need to stop and kind of readjust. I like to think a lot about where my thumb is on the back of the guitar. That's something we don't think about enough, I think. If it starts to point straight up like this or curl in, or just make sure it's in a good place to be supportive for the rest of your fingers. You can injure yourself if you're not careful. I played on drum lines a lot whenever I was in high school and college, and we played traditional grip, but on a flat drum. Traditional grip is designed to be on a sideways drum, but we turned it over flat, and that puts your wrist in a weird place. And they stopped doing this for a lot of people after I was done, because you can blow out your wrist, and I did. Like I can't, my left wrist, if I play for a really long time, then it starts to get really sore, and it's because of just too much tension in your hand. So you've got to, if you're feeling a lot of tension, Jackie, because you're trying to get that finger flat, then maybe, kind of rethink what you're doing a little bit to avoid that. So, anyway, there's my little health pitch for today. Take care of your hands.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you can get. I think they call it. They used to call it carpal tunnel. I think now they call it repetitive stress syndrome or repetitive stress injuries. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
got to
good
be
point.
careful of it.
Anything else?
You guys do like stretches like after before you play something or no?
Josh, what about you?
I don't think I do. I probably should. Like you know, I have. I actually have problems with this hand more than
Mm.
this hand. This hand, like I have. I get these ganglion cysts in my wrist a lot,
Oh no.
which are your tendons pass fluid much like a hydraulic system. That's how they work. But sometimes fluid will build up in the joints, and I'll get this big old like bump here, and I can't move my wrist.
Oh man.
So if I if I'm not careful, like I'll start to feel that I'll feel that fluid start to build up, and then I can't really play as much. So I probably should like just before you play, just kind of stretch a little bit. I don't
Yeah.
know what the right answer is, but I think nobody's gonna say stretching is bad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Man, I didn't know that you dealt with that. That's tough. Yikes. These are starting to sound a lot like old man problems too, probably to you guys. But it happens when you're doing something repetitively for years of your life. I've seen some guys do stretches where they'll like put out their hand and then like just gently pull back and do the same thing this way. I tend to think that a good warm up will probably do that for you. So if you figure out some kind of warm up routine, I mean, I like scales, and you can find those all over the place on the internet. You run those or a chord progression that you're familiar with that kind of gets all your fingers working without having to do a lot of activity real fast. Just kind of warm your way up into it. And you can do a decent warm up in 2.5 minutes to 5 minutes, and you can get your hands in shape. So that would probably be the best answer for you, Jackie, is to figure out a warm-up routine that you do every time you pick up the guitar, and that'll help you out a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's all the time we got. Thank you guys for sticking with us all week. Hopefully, this has been useful to you. You've learned something new. If not, I'm sorry, but reach out, write us, and we'll make sure we can show you something cool for sure. So, email us. You can get us on our Facebook pages as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, or your divisional music directors. They're probably your best bet first, just because those guys
start
they love to talk to you. They like to touch in with and just make sure everything's going all right with you first. And then if you have a question that they feel like somebody else would probably be better to answer, they'll reach out to us as well. So, but you got tons of people in your corner who'd be able to help you. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Yep.
Anybody have anything else? All right. Well, thank you guys. I wish I could come and see you play live. So maybe we'll try to make that happen sometime. I'll come down to Port Charlotte. Jackie, where are you right now?
I'm at the Plano core in Texas.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, maybe I'll try to swing that way some next time I'm in Texas. Every now and then I'll get over there. Anyway, hope it goes well for you guys. Don't be strangers. We'll see you around, I'm sure.
Yeah, go take over the world as guitar players. Do it. Let's maybe close in a word of prayer real quick, Josh.
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you.
Yep. Cool. Lord, we thank you just for this opportunity. Lord, we thank you for Josh, who has worked so hard to put this all together and to help lead us through these times. Lord, we pray that you'll just continue to bless him and his leadership in this ministry. And Lord, be with all of us as we're working so hard at learning these two new techniques on our instruments. That we do it to offer glory and honor back to you. We pray, Lord, that you'll just be present in the work that we're putting in, and be present whenever we get to go and present this before people in worship. Bless us now as we go. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys. We'll see you around.
See you guys.